What up, everybody? Hope you're having a good day today. Today, we got some TikToks for you about forks, tuning forks and bells and, frequencies and stuff. I wrote it down like I was going to forget, and I kind of did already. But yeah, so we're going to talk about that stuff,
Let's go already!
This one is going to be full of, sounds. And so if you're like a demon or anything or have some evil spirits in you, this might be a little bit disturbing for you. And, maybe if you're driving too, it might be a little distracting. So maybe you should watch this one a little bit later. But other than that, let's get into it. We got some sounds. Maybe putting on some headphones or listening on some better speakers might be a little bit nice for this one too, to get the full effect.
Welcome to your nightly bell healing session. Bro be tripping out right now.
A nice big loud bell for you to wake you up. The first thing we do it. All right, let's go. I thought this one was interesting because we forget that these tuning forks, we've seen the example where they put two tuning forks of the same frequencies next to each other. They ring one, the other one rings in sympathy of the other one. But this particular one reminds me that we forget that this little small fork, when placed on something big, that it can resonate the other thing in sympathy and in the different octaves as well. Not just that same pitch. I forget about that as well. Not just at the same frequency, but the ones that double and half and everything in between. So we forget that such a small little resonant thing like that can really affect such a larger thing, like a larger bell like that, like a tuning fork going into a larger bell. So I find that one very interesting. Just forget about that.
If you have ADHD, this should quiet your mind.
He said if you have ADHD, this should quiet your mind.
If this worked for you, then you and I are very similar. There are some different tuning forks in this kit that make me feel like I'm going to yak. The higher pitched one, holy crap, it sends me. But this one right here makes me feel like all my stuff just falls into place and everything just feels right in the world. I can't even express to you how much sound and vibration has to do with the water in your body. When certain frequencies are hit, the water molecules actually realign. And I know it sounds crazy, but we are almost all water. And when you make our molecules realign, it's genuinely a tangible feeling. It's beyond the doctor's office. This is something that you need to feel for yourself. You might have been able to feel it through the phone, and I hope you were able to do that. It should genuinely make your mind feel quiet. This kit is awesome. I love experimenting with it. You can fine tune this, you can adjust these, and then it has preset levels as well. If you ever have any questions, I'm always here to help. I really hope this helps you. Cheers.
Sorry, the audio's a little hard on that one. He smacks that thing, it's real loud, and then he talks quietly. Hopefully you can hear that one. But he was saying that it really helps with his ADHD, that pitch. And I think that one did quiet my mind too. I don't know that I consider myself having ADHD. That doesn't mean I don't have it or something. I don't know. But I don't think of myself as having it. But you guys would probably be able to tell more than I will. Where was I? What was I thinking of? Birds? Rabbits? No. No, but that one did seem really nice. I really liked that pitch, whatever that pitch was. That one sounded really nice to me personally. Got the old world in the background, you know. Got the Ankh. Is that what that is? The Ankh? Am I thinking about that right? Let me look that up. Let's see. What is an Ankh again? Ankh. Ankh. Is that right? Ankh. Images. That's what it looks like. An ancient. There we are. I was right. All right. That's an Ankh. That she has an Ankh tuning fork. Or whatever you may call that thing. Resonator metal tuning fork. That one gave me shivers, or, you know, made my hair stand up on my back. That one made me feel good. But there's got to be something to this. There's something interesting about it. I don't know how it works, but we're here to find out. Look at that. I don't know if you can hear those bass frequencies. I don't know if those bass frequencies are coming from this larger thing that it's all this water is in or something, or it's just some weird... The thing is so large, it's kind of like waffling the air by the microphone or something to give it this low pulsing. But look at how that affects the water. It's crazy. And it's surprising like how much it actually affects the water. You don't think it affects that water that much. This is a larger one still, but like right over holding that, you wouldn't think it would have such a large effect on the water like that. It's so crazy. I wonder what if that is some special tub of some sort, or I'm not sure what it is. He's got some other cool musical instruments in there, handpan, piano, some gongs. It looks like a fun room to be in. That I thought was interesting too. The concept of a doorbell. We all have a doorbell, but we never think about it as getting rid of spirits or cleansing something when somebody comes in and they ring the doorbell. It's just something that they, you to notify someone at the door. I mean, that makes sense too. Don't get me wrong. You can't always hear the knock in the basement or whatever it is, but the older doorbells used to be bells too, and I wonder if that da 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 da, or is that a clock? I forget which one that is. There's some tones that are for doorbells, like older houses used to have it, and I think they kind of gotten rid of those doorbells because they're usually hardwired into the house, and I believe. And they were actually like bells, and some of them actually had, like a tube that something would strike another thing and it would hit a metal tube and actually ring like a bell. So I thought that was just fascinating that we have the idea of the doorbell here, and that it might get rid of spirits at the front door. It's cool. It's interesting.
Interesting demonstrations and experiments to perform.
This is fascinating.
A mirror on the end of a tuning fork. If you shine a laser light on the mirror and then wiggle it around when it's struck, you'll notice that you get the sine curve. That's right, the tuning fork is vibrating in a sinusoidal pattern. Combining two tuning forks and pointing them at perpendicular angles, you can generate the original Lissajous figures.
Lissajous. I don't know what that is, or if I said that right.
Don't forget.
What is a Lissajous? Let's ask ChatGPT maybe. Maybe it'll know for me. Yo, ChatGPT, what is a lizard shape?
I think you might be referring to a lizard-shaped object, like something shaped.
No. It's something, some sort of a shape made with two sine waves being combined together.
Ah, I see what you mean. You're likely talking about a Lissajous figure. Those intricate patterns you get when two perpendicular sine waves of different frequencies interact. They form shapes like loops, figure eights, or more complex patterns, depending on the frequency ratio and phase difference.
Can you tell me a little bit more about them and why we know about them?
Lissajous figures come from the study of oscillations in waves. In the 19th century, Jules Antoine Lissajous explored how two perpendicular harmonic motions, like sine waves, interact. Using mirrors and beams of light, he visualized these patterns. They're super useful because they show the relationship between frequencies, like if two signals are in harmony or out of sync. Before modern oscilloscopes, they helped people understand vibrations and even tune instruments.
How did they use them to tune instruments?
So back in the day, people would use Lissajous figures to visually compare frequencies. For instance, if you had a tuning fork generating a known frequency and you paired it with the sound of an instrument, you could convert both into oscillations. When you projected them as Lissajous patterns, a stable pattern, like a simple curve or a steady figure, meant the frequencies matched. If the pattern wobbled or changed, it meant they were out of tune. It was a cool way to see whether sounds were in harmony.
What other practical applications did this serve in the past?
Beyond tuning, Lissajous figures had a big role in early electronics and engineering. They helped analyze and compare signals in oscilloscopes. If two signals were meant to be synchronized, like in radio or TV systems, a stable pattern meant they were aligned. They were also used to study mechanical vibrations or check the balance of rotating machinery. Essentially, they let people see relationships between complex vibrations or signals. Very handy before digital analysis.
Thank you.
That these are actually musical notes. Take tuning forks C, E, and G, and you can strike a chord. The chord is C major. One of the last things you're going to want to do with your tuning fork is tune a musical instrument. You got to be careful because the scientific tuning forks do not match the musical scale. The way it's usually done is you take a
I wonder why that is, though. Why the scientific ones don't match the musical scale. That's interesting. Why we decided to change it. It's probably the 432 hertz or 440 hertz tuning, which is what I believe they tuned to A2 is the 440. Let's ask Church. Let's look that up. Yo, ChatGPT, what note is 440 hertz?
440 hertz is the standard pitch for the musical note, A above middle C.
A above middle C. All right, so it's A. So yeah, either 432 or 440 is what I'm thinking when he means by musical or scientific.
tuning fork and resonate it on the body of the instrument.
I used to do this. My sister had a tuning fork for her upright bass,
In front of a CRT computer monitor for
and I had it for my viola.
the effect.
What the?
An adjustable strobe light can give the illusion of slow motion. Is this tuning fork even moving?
Thinking about that, for some reason, just reminded me of the frame rate of our eyes. And I was watching, cartoons, thinking the other day that it's interesting that they only have to put so many frames, and that we just kind of fill in the rest, or just assume motion from one slide to the next under a certain frame rate. Let's see. Let's look up that. Let's ask ChatGPT at what frame rate the human eye sees. Yo, ChatGPT, at what frame rate does the human eye detect?
The human eye doesn't work quite like a camera, so there's no exact frame rate cutoff. But generally, we perceive smooth motion somewhere between 30 and 60 frames per second. In some cases, people can detect differences or flicker up to around 75 or more frames per second. depending on conditions and the individual.
What's the typical cartoon set at?
Classic cartoons, especially older hand-drawn animation, were often produced at around 24 frames per second. However, to save time and resources, many were animated on twos, meaning one drawing is shown for 2 frames. So effectively, you'd get about 12 distinct drawings per second, but it still plays back at a smooth 24 frames per second.
Interesting. Cartoons, look at that. We're learning. Oh, crap. And
Whoa, I guess it was. Clip a simple speaker removed from its housing to an oscilloscope and demonstrate the pure tone of the tuning fork. You can also verify its frequency. One of the most famous demonstrations is that of resonance. I have these 2 tuning forks which are on the same frequency, 256. If I sound one of them, the sound gets transported to the other through resonance. And back again.
I also wonder how far that works and what's the thing that's stopping it? Is it air compression or something like that? I wonder what that, I just wonder what the limitations of that, because they always show the tuning forks pretty close to each other, but I wonder how far you can bring them apart before that effect fades.
Here's a way you can enhance the demonstration. I've hung a ping pong ball on a string and it's up against the edge of one of the tuning forks. Watch what happens. For this demonstration, I'm sending a beam of laser light all the way across the room. And it lands on this solar cell which is connected to a speaker system. When I block the beam with my hand, you can hear it on the speakers. Now partially blocking the beam with a tuning fork, you can hear it on the speakers.
That one's weird. I don't know what's happening there. Is that like a magnetic thing? Is there some sort of, what's happening there that tuning fork is altering that light? Is it just because it's blocking, the tuning fork is moving and it's blocking every, so often that it's creating then a pulse for it to pick up and make a note? I'm not sure, but that's weird. You would think you'd have to be like really precise where you put that tuning fork, but this is weird. Interesting.
These 2 tuning forks are not in agreement. This one has a little extra ballast which lowers the frequency slightly. When I sound them together, the sounds will interfere rhythmically, both constructively and destructively. That's called beats. You can see it on an oscilloscope. Interesting demo.
If you're not a musician, that is the same thing that you'll use to see if something's in tune, maybe on a guitar like that. There's ways of playing harmonics on the strings by lightly touching the string and being able to split the string either in half or in quarters or in different amounts. And you can hear that beating of the 2 different notes against each other to see if they're relatively in tune. But that, I don't know if everyone can hear that. I have no problem hearing that. Some people have a harder time hearing that. I forget about that, just like I have a harder time imagining a scene inside my head to paint. I love to play music. I don't know if you know that about me. For all those people who aren't my friends watching this, I like to play music. And I can imagine inside my head the drums going on, the bass going on, the guitar going on, and the singing and whatever else just all playing simultaneously. But I have a really hard time just trying to imagine, like, if I was to paint a landscape. Like, I have a hard time imagining, like, I can see that, the mountains are in the back or something, the trees are a little bit closer, the lake's in the front, and I can see that, but how that works out and translates onto paper into a flat sheet that looks where the mountains are proportional to the trees, and the trees don't look like they're, you know, giant trees in front of these little molehills that are supposed to be the, you know, Rocky Mountains or whatever it may be. I just have a really hard time visualizing some of that stuff, and people, different things come easier to different people, and I have a easier time hearing things. And I don't have perfect pitch. I have relative pitch, but I don't have perfect pitch. Perfect pitch means that if he strikes one of these notes like that, they could be like, "Oh, that's an A." They hit that tuning fork. That's an A. I know that for sure. Now I could tell you, and with relative pitch, you know, how if you hit a tuning fork and you hit another one against it, how many half steps in Western music it may be away, the distance, the note, but that's about it. And I can hear, you know, I always find it amazing when people can hear play just randomly something on the piano and get all the chords across, or all the notes, and just hear them. And other people here have that, whatever condition it is, I forget, not anesthesia, and that people associate sometimes like genders with numbers, or colors with numbers, or colors with sounds, or it's like they have their wires crossed, but not really. I could see it being advantageous sometimes, and I could see that maybe not being so advantageous at other times. But that's another interesting thought. Everyone has their different strengths and weaknesses, and we all go around just assuming that everyone's like us, like, oh, we heard the same thing, and someone's like, no. Or, you know, some people are really good at just playing a beat and just can keep a beat, and some people just cannot clap their hands on the 2 and the 4, you know, or the 1 and the 3, whatever it is, you know. And so everyone's got their strengths and weaknesses, and yeah, it's interesting. Oh, I guess we're going to end it there. That's the last one I had. I thought I had another one for you. I guess no, I didn't have another one. That's it. All right. Sounds good. Oh, I hope you enjoyed it. This is the best show, right? Ending with a bang. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. Learned a little bit more about tuning forks and stuff, and seeing what they really actually do. It's pretty interesting seeing that on that water once again, and just remembering that a little tuning fork can also resonate something larger and really bring something else to life, and just kind of and wondering about understanding a little bit more about lasers and tuning forks. That last bit was really interesting too. But I hope you guys have a lovely day, and like and subscribe if you want to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.